So here a data set being given which consists of 5 patients records. So we have 5 samples. We have 3 attributes: muscle aches, headaches and chills. The rule here is we have to find which is the maximal contributing feature to identify the fever. So this finders algorithm helps us to identify which is the maximum contributing feature that helps us to predict whether the particular patient is affected by fever or not. So the first step in finders algorithm is we have to set with the initial hypothesis. So the initial hypothesis is nothing but it is a null value because we don't have any idea about what is the value of each and every attribute, because the machine learns only after taking each and every sample. So initial hypothesis will set with H. H is nothing but the initial hypothesis. So H naught, how many attributes we have? Muscle aches 1, headache 2 and 3 is chill. So we have 3 different feature and we'll be having 3 null values for the initial hypothesis. So initially we will be assuming that muscle aches value is null, headache value is null and chill is null, because we doesn't know which feature is maximally contributing for fever prediction. So and in iteration 1, so iteration 1 takes into consideration your patient 1 record, the first sample from the given data set. So patient 1 record, first we have to check whether it is a positive outcome or negative outcome. This finders algorithm will take only the positive outcome for training the model, and if it is negative, your finders algorithm will ignore the sample for training. So let us check whether patient 1 data set sample is positive or negative. So the rule here is we are going to find whether the particular patient is affected by fever or not. So here in the for patient 1 we have the value S. So it is positively contributing for the prediction. So it is nothing but a positive value because we have the label value as S. This patient 1 data's outcome is he is suffering from fever. So it is a positive outcome which is positively contributing for predicting the fever. So now we have to write the hypothesis for H1. So we have to compare this H1 with H0. Since H0 is null, all the null values will be replaced by the value of the attributes in the first record by default. So for muscle aches, it is S is replacing the null value, and for headache we are replacing S, and for chills the null value will be replaced by yes, because S is the value for all the attributes for patient 1. And an iteration 2. So iteration 2 takes into account patient 2, the next patient data. So first we have to check whether it is positive or negative outcome. For patient 2 we have positive outcome, yes. So it is a positive sample. Now we have to fix with the hypothesis. We have to compare each and every value here of patient 2 with patient 1 in the previous iteration. So now the value of patient 2 in muscle ache is no. So we have to compare this no with the previous iteration, yes. So here the previous iteration muscle ache value is S, and now here the patient value it is no for patient 2. So since it is changing, we will be replacing it with question mark. So this question mark reveals that the value for the parameter is changing. It is not same for all the patients. So it is not much contributing for predicting the patient outcome, because it keeps on changing. If it is retaining the same, then it is strongly contributing to identify that a particular patient is suffering from fever. So if it is the values are changing, you have to replace it with a question mark. If the values are same, you have to retain with the same value. This is what the procedure is. And next, the second value, headache value. For second patient, the headache value is S. It should be compared with the H1 value S. Both are same, so we'll be retaining with the same value here. And for patient 2, chills value is S, and in H1 also we have the same value as. Since the value is same, we'll be returning with the same value. So now we'll be moving with iteration 3. So in iteration 3, we'll be taking patient 3's data. So we have to check whether it is a positive outcome or negative outcome. Since it is positive outcome, because third patient's outcome is S, so it is a positive outcome. So it will take into consideration for training. So here the hypothesis, we have to compare patient 3 records with iteration 2 hypothesis, that is last confirmed hypothesis. So now patient 3's muscle ache value is S. This will be compared with H2. H2 is already revealing that the first attribute, that is muscle ache attribute, is already a question mark because it keeps on changing. So we will not to worry about it. Directly we can replace it with question mark. And the second value of patient 3 headache is no. Now it will be compared with already existing hypothesis. The second value is S. So we'll be comparing it changes. If it changed, then Finders algorithm will replace it with question mark because it is not maximally contributing to predict the outcome. And for patient 3, the next value, third value, chills attribute value is S. And this will be compared with the last updated hypothesis. The value is S in H2. So both are same. We'll be retaining with the same value for the attribute chill. So now the final hypothesis which we have from the last iteration 3 is question mark S. So now for iteration 4, in iteration 4, we will be taking the next patient data for training the model. So the next patient is patient 4. First we have to check whether it is positive or negative outcome. So fourth patient data, the outcome fever is no. So it is a negative outcome which is negatively contributing for predicting the fever. If it is negative outcome, we will not take any insights for learning from that particular sample. So now your machine learning model, which is using Finders algorithm, will ignore this sample since it is negatively contributing. And next in iteration 5, we'll be taking patient 5 data. We have to check whether fifth patient data is contributing positively or negatively. So no, it's a negative outcome. So it is a negative sample. So if it is a negative sample, we no need to consider this for training the model. So we'll be ignoring this sample. So finally, we have completed all the records, and the Finders algorithm will come to a conclusion that the final hypothesis is H3 equals question mark and yes. So this is the final hypothesis which we have derived from Finders algorithm. So what is the interpretation or outcome that we can conclude from this final hypothesis is the third attribute in the final hypothesis is consistently having the same value in all the patient records, which means that if the patient is having chill value as S, then obviously it implies that the patient is suffering from fever irrespective of the value of muscle ache and headache. Thank you.